You've tuned in to the BAM Pod, brought to you by Black Bear Diner, Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, Mercury Marine, Vexus Boats, StoreQuest Storage Solutions, Fast Boat Technologies, and Tackle Warehouse. Now, kick back and enjoy the next great episode of the BAM Pod. All right, welcome in everybody to the BAM Pod. I'm your host, Big Ed, and on the line today, I went out. I was at the ISE show. I looked to my right. There's a gentleman standing there. You might have heard of him. Mr. Greg Blanchard is on the line tonight, man. Welcome into the show. I really appreciate you coming on.
Big Ed, what is up, man? Thanks for having me. Yeah, the show was quite the experience. I mean, we were neighbors for 4 days, so that was cool. It was good because I didn't know who our neighbors would be, and of course, it was Obity and myself's booth, and it was a little chaotic, but I didn't know who our neighbor would be, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't someone we're gonna piss off too much. So I was so happy to see it was you guys, and I knew you guys were cool, so I was really happy.
Yeah, I'm a pretty tough guy to piss off. So, hey, and
Yeah.
you stuck me right next to your wife. I got to tell you, I meet a lot of people in this world. Every once in a while, you meet that little freaking Spitfire, and that is definitely your wife, man. That was awesome. She's a great lady. Really nice to meet her. Great to see you guys there. I got Obity's going to be coming on soon as well. But Greg, everybody kind of sees your videos. They know who you are when it comes to that. You're known. I talked to a buddy of mine who's in Indiana. And I told him, I said I'd be doing an interview with you. And he's like, dude, you got to hook me up with that interview. I got to hear that one. I'm like, yeah, I'll get it on there. All right. So it's an honor for you to come on here and talk to the show. Let's just kick this thing off right off the bat with kayak fishing has grown immensely since it started to now. I mean, I turned on one of your shows today, the one you just did up on U.S.A, and I was looking at you got the new ride, you got this new stuff, and we were talking about it at the BAM the other day about the whole kayak thing, and it's just, to me, it's so interesting to look out there and see porcupines floating. You just got rods everywhere, you got tackle everywhere, you got all the new electronics. I mean, you were debuting yours on there, and you were at Clear Lake, you were at Berryessa, today you were at the Delta. Forward facing sonar is a thing. You were just talking a little bit about it's going to ruin me. But I want to talk about this time of year. You've been to 3 of our main bodies of water out here. I mean, Berryessa, you could arguably say it's one of our main bodies, but Clear Lake and the Delta for sure. I mean, that's where tournaments reign supreme. But the, Berryessa thrown in there, you were catching some good fish. You got some great coaching when you were on Clear Lake. Let's talk about this time of year. I mean, we've got this transition going on. Yes, it's still winter. Spring is coming. And you were catching some good fish out on Berryessa. What do you look for this time of year, and let's talk a little bit about, this transition time.
Yeah, no, I mean, first off, we're super lucky to be living in a world where we can go to Berryessa, Clear Lake, or the Delta. I mean, that is just, and those are 3 of my favorites, honestly, if I were to pick my top 3. I'm in the East Bay, so I try to get to all of them quite a bit. So, I mean, this time of year, when it's February, especially mid-February, end of February, that's kind of like when I start really getting excited. January is your re-spool everything, get your tackle orders, get your boat, your kayak ready, do the sportsman shows, get everything ready for the season. But once February hits, that's when I'm like, okay, the fishing should start picking up. And I think it has. I mean, Clear Lake, when I went to Clear Lake, again, these last few trips were more so to test out the new kayak, learn Mega Live 2. I just got Mega Live 2, as you kind of referenced there. So I'm learning live scope. But this time of year, I feel like is the time of year where the biggest fish in the lake, they show themselves, they reveal themselves, whether it's just to move up for a pre-spawn staging spot or feeding on bait. I mean, right now you can see Clear Lake's a perfect example. Any bite you get on Clear Lake is quite literally like a 5 to 12 pound bass. I mean, sure, you'll get a couple of rats here and there, but other times a year you get a bite on Clear Lake, it could be a 3-4 pounder, which is fine. But right now it's just those megas that are showing themselves. And that's what really gets me excited. for this time of year. It's kind of, I don't want to call pre-spawn. It's kind of like the pre-spawn to me. I mean, water temps are mid 50s at best in the afternoon. But for me right now, if I'm going to any of those lakes, I'm going to be looking for, main lake points leading into spawning flats, coves, areas they should eventually move into in the next couple of months. And again, it just depends on the day, the weather, stuff like that. But it's I mean, I was at the Delta today. I didn't catch any big ones. I got one good one. But they're similar in nature, that they are starting to move up a little shallower to kind of poke their head around, see what's going on, maybe get a bite to eat. And yeah, I think right now, and you obviously with the weights, just the mega fish are showing themselves, and it's a really good time to get out there.
Yeah, this time of year, I think people really talk about that. Are you one of those guys that incorporates the big swim baits and stuff like that? You were throwing an A rig out there in the show that I was watching for the most part, but then again, you're throwing the A rig, but you were catching your biggest fish on that little underspin, and then you were catching them on some of the different shad baits and that sort of thing. But is the big fish need to come on big baits, or are you catching them on pretty much whatever you want to throw?
I don't throw big baits much, if at
Mm.
all. I'll just be honest. I've dabbled with it. I've got a big, beautiful collection of swim baits. They're all in like mint condition, hardly any hook rash. I'm more of a pattern guy. I like to figure out the best pattern on a given day to essentially, put as many fish in the boat as I can, get as many bites as I can, and just play the numbers game. And hopefully, if I catch enough fish, a few of them will be pretty good size. So I don't, a rig for me, Berryessa, I just love an A-rig on Berryessa. I
Mm.
can't say the same for Clear Lake. I've had moments on the Delta, more so in the fall, where the A-rig will play. But Berryessa, I think the A-rig plays literally all year round. I mean, these fish are so bait oriented in Berryessa. And I mean, we'll just say it right here. So the spot I was fishing at Berryessa was Pleasure Cove. It was the back of Pleasure Cove, all the way, to the very back. And there's a big grass flat back there. It's one of my favorite areas on Berryessa because it just seems like fish are there year round, because that grass, it never really completely dies off. It's still there, even in like 15, 20 foot, there's grass. And I think a lot of those fish are kind of residential. I wouldn't even necessarily call those fish like, any staging or pre-spawn fish. They're just there. They eat bait. They, maybe eat bluegill, crawfish, whatever. But I think they're very bait oriented, and that A rig, especially when the conditions are right, when they're setting up in that grass to eat, it's just there's something about a bass seeing multiple baits fleeing that triggers them. Now, sure, there are certain days and times where they ignore it and a single bait's better, but I think there's just something that, like, natural instinct inside a bass that just needs to mow over a bait ball. And I'm sure if you guys have been on Berryessa at all, you've seen the massive bait balls that it almost look like it's raining at some point in certain parts of the lake. There's just so much bait. So I think those fish just really key on that A rig.
You know, when we talk about the area, do you have a specific type? Do you have one that you just like? This is the one I throw. This is what I like.
Yeah, it's I've played with a few, but I've actually enjoyed the smaller A rigs. I use a Dark Horse Tackle Mini Max A rig, of course, 3 hooks for California. He makes it in different hook variations, but it's a smaller A rig. You can actually throw it on like a medium heavy rod, so you don't need like a big specialized A rig, and it's obviously a smaller profile compared to those big chandeliers that people throw. And I'm sure those work just fine, but I almost fish it in a way like a spinner bait. I feel like I can, get it up shallow. I'm not going to hang up as much. I can just kind of work it better through cover. And it's just easier for me to fish personally. And that's probably the one over the past 2, 3 years that I've really enjoyed the most. And it actually plays well on the Delta when they're eating the A rig. Like I said, I think Delta A rigging is kind of like October, November for me. In
Okay.
December, I'm sure too, but on the Delta, as you know, it's shallow grass fishery, especially on low tide. And that smaller A rig, you can just work it so much easier. You can actually use an A rig on the Delta with that smaller profile. So I really like that one.
This year, I was watching that show, looking at a couple different things, and I noticed that a lot of times, fish were coming up out of grass, fish were coming up out of just off the bottom, boom, they'd come up. I think the one that kind of got me the best was it came out of like 15 feet of water, hits it right about 5 feet from the boat, and it was like, wow, that's crazy that they one. You wouldn't think with water temperatures, what are they in the 40s right now?
That day it started out at like 52,
Oh,
got up to
okay.
5. But yeah, it's still pretty chilly. It's not
You wouldn't think
warm.
they would run that far. You don't think they'd be that active.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the other thing that's interesting to me about these lakes, Berryessa, Clear Lake for sure, is sometimes they don't necessarily like, in my opinion, play by the rules. Like textbook bass fishing, seasonal behaviors. Oh, you got to check this spot, that spot. This is where they should be, getting ready. I mean, of course, that holds true at times and probably majority of times, but I think there's certain groups of fish or populations of fish in bodies of water like Berryessa, in Pleasure Cove that, they're residential fish, they're opportunistic, the conditions are right, the bite window's right. It didn't matter. If the water temp's 58, 42, 51,
Mm,
75, if they're on bait, if they're looking to eat, and like I said, kind of that like primal instinct with
right.
the A-rig or any bait that gets that, reaction, then they'll shoot up and they'll smoke it. So yeah, it was surprising to me, and again, I am right now currently, like, learning to use LiveScope. I just got LiveScope. I think that was the Berryessa trip was my 4th time ever using it,
Mm.
but, no, I'm learning too, and to see that, like you said, that there was a fish that shot up from, like, 15 foot and ate the A-rig, like, right at the boat, that's crazy, and I'm learning a lot more in just those first 4 trips about fish behavior than I've honestly learned in the past, like, 5 years.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch. We've watched this thing grow from a people loving it, liking it, hating it,
Yeah,
to kind of like agreeing with it, and I guess we can live with it. I think the more and more people get it on their boats, I'm a person, I don't have it on my boat yet. It's just I haven't I don't fish tournaments like I used to, so I haven't decided to pull that trigger and spend that much money on it yet.
mhm,
Pleasure wise, I can still go out and catch fish. I mean,
sure.
it is what it is. People caught fish before it, people catch fish after it, and people catch it,
Yeah,
when they're doing it. But I think watching it, seeing how it plays out, and the kayak thing, that's what you're basically known for, is the kayak world. Seeing it show up on the kayaks and seeing it kind of come out there like that, do you think it's going to have a huge change in the way that I mean, I think we kind of seen it already, but how do you feel it's going to change the kayak world?
Oh, so, I mean, it already has for sure. The last couple of years, definitely last year and the year before. I mean, I've been kayak fishing since 2012. I've been doing tournaments since 2014. And every year the kayak anglers, they get better. The competition gets harder, and California is no exception. I mean, the local circuit out here, Yakabass, I've been fishing it for like 9 years, and, it every year it gets better, but specifically the last couple of years where live scope, has been a big factor on majority of people finishing in, like, the top 10 of angler of the year. It's huge. It's absolutely huge because they're fishing for fish that aren't pressured. And,
Mm,
I'm like a lot of guys probably out there. I'm a bank beater. I like to fish visual structure, cover. I can go offshore if I need to, fish humps, points, whatever. But these guys with live scope in the kayak tournaments, I mean, they're finding fish that just they're not seeing baits and they're good at it too. The one thing I know and that I'll continue to learn is just because you have it doesn't mean you're going to load the boat with fish. There's a very specific skill, not only using it and presenting it your bait, but also controlling your kayak, having the right equipment. There's a lot of small details that these top anglers, a lot of which fish the Bam Trail kayak series, they're good at. So we've already seen it these last 2 years. Majority of the guys that are finishing in the top have it because you know they're catching 90 to 95 inches at least
mm,
every tournament. Places where it used to take 85 inches, which for the
yeah.
boat guys out there, maybe that's like 15 pounds. Well,
Okay.
now it's 20 pounds plus
Right.
because Even places like Folsom, I always had this idea that Folsom was just the stingiest place in the world. It maybe still is kinda, but, I'd be happy getting 5 fish for a limit there, like 5 15 inches, 75 inches. Well, I think was it last year or the year before, guys are catching like 95, 98 inches out of Folsom. The fish are there. The fish are everywhere. There's good fish in every body of water, and now with live scope and the fact that these guys are getting so good with it, they're gonna find those fish. So it has affected me for sure in that I don't do as well in tournaments. I get my butt kicked, a lot, um, but yeah, it's pretty crazy to see how good people are in the skills they have in the kayak scene.
Is all your content now going to go to just being scoping?
Tackle Warehouse has everything you need to get out and catch more bass. Rods for every application or technique. Over 1,000 reels to choose from. Monofilament, braid, and fluorocarbon lines. A massive selection of baits from the smallest to the largest. Exclusive baits and colors only available at Tackle Warehouse. Everything you need to build or customize your favorite lures. And of course, countless options to store it all. Tackle Warehouse. Click, save, fish.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
That is a great question. No, definitely not. So that was the one, I'll be honest, that was the one big thing for me that I was a little concerned about was, I mean, and you kinda already said it, there's a divide, amongst people. People love it, people hate it, some are indifferent, but, I mean, the people that hate it and are against it are really against it, like, for sure. If you ever go on, don't even read the comments on my recent videos. But no, I think it's a really cool tool. I'm not against it at all. I don't, if it's legal in tournaments, I'll use it. If it's not, then that's fine too. Um, like I said, I've learned so much about fish behavior just in the few times I've been out with it. Learning like just even like my bait retreat, like retrieving my bait. I learned
Yeah.
like the first trip that I reel too fast. I've been reeling too fast my whole life, especially in the winter. But as far as the content goes, no, I still by nature am a shallow power fisherman. Delta's my favorite place to fish. I like throwing buzz baits, bladed jigs, flipping, and that's not going to need live scope. So
Yeah.
that plus, I do see myself, staring at a screen all day can only be cool for like so many trips, and then I think I know that I won't that won't last. I'll need to like kind of just get back to old school fishing. So content will not all be live scope. I'll definitely utilize it when I need to, when I think it's appropriate, but it's definitely not going to dominate my channel.
Well, I will give you a bunch of props on that. As a person that watches these shows, and I, when I talked to the MLF guys, I talked to the Bassmaster guys, and they talked about that. That one of the biggest reasons why they aren't a big fan of the live scope is that people watching some guy stand there and stare at a screen all day sucks. Like nobody wants to tune in and watch that, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the way you were filming, the angles you had on it was awesome. I mean, I could actually see what you were seeing, and that made it fun for me to see as well. It's like, set the hook, you missed that one.
Yeah, yeah,
It was really cool to kind of see the angles and everything that you had going, and I give you a lot of props for doing that, and the way it was, it made it fun for the person watching. So if you do it a few times, I'm sure people will enjoy it.
yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean that again. Yeah, it's a fine balance with content now. I mean, like you said, like Bassmaster, their live stream, like yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of complaints about how it's not so fun watching people shake a minnow all day. I don't know if you. I just watched some live stuff from Gunnersville. Bassmaster was at Gunnersville, their first event
Yeah.
of the year, and there was no scope allowed. Um,
And
It
Hank
was
Cherry
cool.
still won. It's crazy.
Yeah, with a chartreuse grub. Who would have thought? I wonder how many chartreuse grubs are still in stock right now. But yeah, I mean, content wise, film wise, stuff like that. It I still need to make sure that I'm making good content, not only for people, but for myself too. Because I personally don't think, that I could just go again, like I said, stare at a screen all day long every trip. I mean, that's not even that would be killer. I mean, that would destroy my neck, my eyes, my brain. It's just like we see enough screens already. So there's going to be a time and a place, and I said this in the video. Is kind of the special sauce will be knowing when to use it and knowing when to put it down and just go fish.
Well, we turn on, people turn on, they watch and they see your channel, they see what you do. And for the most part, I believe you probably get up in the morning, go to your destination you're going to go to and turn it on and go fishing and start recording. How much time do you actually spend on the water not filming? How much time do you get out there and go, I got to practice before I do this so I don't look like a complete idiot out here on the water?
Zero, not zero.
Nope.
Every time I turned a GoPro on in 2013 when I went fishing, and I've never had a trip where I don't have a GoPro with me, and it didn't go up on YouTube. So,
Hmm.
and that's the thing though. I've got quite the blooper reel over the years. I mean, I've had some moments for sure. I have plenty of tough days out there as well. I mean, there's many skunk videos out there. Many skunk videos, many tough days. Days where it's just brutal, where I can't seem to do anything right. But to me, kind of that's like been important because it's like the reality of fishing. Not every day is going out and smashing 25 pounds. It's a lot of stuff in between those epic trips. But I've always kind of said too, like if every day you went fishing and you caught 25, 30 pounds, fishing really wouldn't be that fun. Like those days are special for a reason. So it's all those grinders, all that hard work, all that, blood, sweat, and tears you put in to get to those points that make it special. So I do think it's important for me to film every trip. And we were chatting earlier. I went out to the Delta today. Risky move for me because I'm usually terrible at the Delta this time of year, but I knew cameras were rolling. It's going to be a video no matter what happens. Luckily, caught a few, so kind of salvaged the day. But yeah, I just kind of I post everything, no matter what the outcome is.
California Delta, Clear Lake, Berryessa, those are all fairly large. I mean,
Yeah.
the Delta and Clear Lake obviously are huge. Berryessa's no slouch itself. Big waters right there. How much water do you cover a day in your kayak, do you think?
Oh
I mean,
man,
we got GPS now, so you probably know exactly how much you
yeah,
cover.
yeah. I mean, so man, I'm probably one of the guys on the extreme of covering water, like especially for tournaments. I hate fishing around a crowd. I hate fishing around people. Not because I don't like people, but I just don't want to encroach on anyone. And
Mm.
I like having, I fish fast. I want to just burn water, cover water. So, at the beginning of a day, especially a tournament, I might go a mile and a half, 2 miles just to start fishing, which of course can take a minute in a kayak. But I would say on average, I'm covering anywhere between 6 to 10 miles in a day on an 8-hour day.
Wow,
So,
that's a lot.
luckily we've got motors now. They're not as fast as the big boat motors, of
Right.
course, but it definitely makes it possible to cover that amount of water in a day. And especially places like the Delta, where if it's not happening in an area, or if you want to, just mix it up, you got to make quite the run. You got to really cover some ground on the Delta. So it's nice to have nowadays with these kayaks being a lot more advanced than they are to have that ability.
Yeah, which one are you running right now? Is the native? You said, right? That's the
Yeah.
new one you got. How does that working out? How has it been for you? And the other thing I noticed is that you don't stay sitting down for long. Like you're up and moving all the time on that thing. Every time you catch a good fish, I mean, you're up, you're showing it off. That is not how kayaks started.
Oh, no, no, definitely not. No, for sure. And I can attest to that because I got my first kayak back in 2012, and it was a Lifetime Manta off of Amazon. I mean, I could still stand in it, but much smaller. But yeah, the kayaks nowadays they're essentially mini bass boats. So I'm running the native watercraft. I've got a couple. I've got the Titan X 12.5, which it's a giant kayak. You need a trailer for it. The one I recently picked up is the Hammer, and that one moves. I mean, this isn't going to sound much to the boat guys, but this one gets up to about 6.8 miles per hour.
Wow.
And for a kayak, that's hauling. So that one moves pretty good. Yeah, but sitting all day too is really, I'm getting older. I don't want to jack my back up. I need to stretch the hips out. So standing's always a good thing to have in a kayak. But yeah, it's come a long way. And what, like you were saying at the very beginning of the show, the porcupine. I never heard of that. The porcupine's out. I like that. I remember being the only porcupine back in 2012, 13, 14, 15. And each year, you see more of us out there. It's pretty crazy nowadays. And probably you guys can attest to this. You go out to a launch ramp anywhere, Barrie, Clear Lake, Delta. It's usually like 50-50 boats and kayaks.
I was recently, Tommy Rice and I went down to Bullard's. Oh, not Bullard. I got Bullard's right hand. Down to Collins Lake, and we were down there, and we were probably 3, maybe 4 deep on bass boats. And there was, I don't know if they were having an event or something, but there was like 20 freaking kayaks out there, and it was just like it was wow. I mean, I know that there's a window that's kind of been opened with you guys now, and I don't want to say it's positive, don't want to say it's negative or anything else, but with the whole golden mussel thing, you guys don't have to run through all the same stuff that boat guys do. Has it really shown? I mean, I noticed on the Berryessa video, you almost look, and I know you were probably fishing right there in Pleasure Cove, but and a lot of guys run, but you were fishing pretty much by yourself. I didn't see any bass boats out there. Was that just the day, or was that just the water?
No, that was pretty much the day. I saw maybe one other bass boat and then like 3 other kayakers. So, yeah, I mean, it is advantageous right now with the situation out here, having a kayak for sure. Kayak without a trailer, of course, too, because I know that if you have a trailer, then you still have to go through some of the protocol.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that I don't know if there's a lot of guys getting kayaks because of that, or if kayakers are just continuing to fish, and it just seems like there's more out there.
Hey, you know what? The price of gas is expensive, man.
Oh.
Filling my truck and boat is always over $2. So.
Oh, dude, I mean, I'll tell you, the reason I got into kayak fishing way back when was, it was affordable. I grew up watching the Bassmaster Elites, FLW as it was at the time. It's now MLF, of course. I grew up, watching those things on, it used to be on ESPN. That was my Saturday morning show. I remember watching, all those great fishing shows, and I was really into the tournaments. I loved watching the tournaments. But I always had a dream. I'm like, you know what? Someday, because I was a bank angler growing up, I always had this dream that, I'll go to college, I'll get a job, and once I can make some money, I'll get a Nitro Z7. That was my dream boat, a white Nitro Z7. Well, before then, I couldn't wait any longer, and kayaks came up, and I was like, I can afford a kayak right now. So that's why I got the kayak, because it was affordable, no gas, it's very low maintenance. And I still have it. So I guess it was a good decision to go.
I feel like you're saying that. One, first, I have to say this: you're not that old if those are the shows that you were watching. Two is that it's become one of those things where kayaks are becoming almost unaffordable nowadays. I started looking at some of them at ISE show, and I'm like, how much is this base model? It was like almost $2,000 for a base model, for not even a great quality one, just a decent one. It was like they had some of them going up all the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and then you have to add all the equipment on. It's becoming crazy.
Yeah. So there is that too now. I mean, they are pretty expensive. I mean, people call them mini bass boats, and they're not joking. I mean, you see guys out there with 2 graphs. I mean, 2 10-inch graphs. You have a live scope, a bow mount, a stern mount, power poles. I mean, it's crazy. to be honest, to be fair, I do have a kayak that's pretty loaded up. It's on a trailer, but I still like today for the Delta, I took a little 10-footer out, little Slayer
Yeah.
Propel 10 LTE. I put it in the back of my truck. I just drug it down the bank. I didn't even go to a launch ramp today. I just drug it down a bank. Had 6 rods with me, a little box, and caught fish. And I still think that's like totally fine. And it's still honestly something I like. I think as much as it's cool to have all these great, upgrades and big fancy giant kayaks with all the electronics. I think it's still cool to just go out and fish with basic stuff and not worry about, a million things. Like there's something like really nice about being simple and having that convenience factor. So I won't get rid of that kayak ever. I'll always have like kind of a smaller rig that anybody could get, so I could go throw it around and launch and go fishing in 15 minutes.
Nice. You know, we talk about how the fishing is right now. We're talking a little bit about the kayak, how you came up in it, how it's going right now. The progression from when you start to the thing is for a lot of guys, and it doesn't have to be that for everybody. Everybody can just enjoy fishing. But do you ever have that want and desire? You watch the elites, you watched all these things. Do you have that want and desire to be that tournament angler at all?
Randall and I want to talk to you real quick about choosing the right electronics mount for your bass boat.
And we know the quality and effort that Van Foster has put into this company.
So what you get is a custom fitted mount, not some mass produced universal mount for every bass boat out there.
Seat pedestal plugs, tool holders, steering wheel spacers, and battery trays are all made with the same attention to detail that Bass Boat Technologies is known for. Check them out at bassboattech.com. You'll be glad you did.
That this is kind of funny. I actually haven't really shared this with anybody at all.
Let it out.
Breaking news. So as far as I know I'm a kayak guy now, and I've kind of, picked my lane. I'm not like a boat guy out here doing the boat tournaments and stuff, but I will share this. My mom actually, she texted me this. It was she took a picture of a journal entry I had. I think I was in like 9th or 10th grade in high school. She took a picture of it. It was like I don't know, a 1-page thing. We had some assignment about, I don't even know what it was about, but basically what I wrote in it was, and I don't know why, but it was like, I think it's really cool what the Bassmaster elites do, the FLW guys do, traveling the country, doing all that stuff. I think it's really cool, but I know it's not for me. I can't see myself having that lifestyle. Again, this is like 15-year-old me talking, but I'm like, if I have a family, if I have kids, I don't think I could live that lifestyle. I don't think I could, be away that long. It just seems like a very tough life to live. But I'm just saying that now because tournaments. Obviously, I'm not at that level, nor do I think I could be. But the tournament grind in me. I mean, I still love tournaments out here, especially because they are highly competitive, especially in Northern California. I still love it, but tournaments to me kind of more about like hanging out with my buddies now. Like I've got some of my best friends out here in California. We met through kayak fishing. We've been friends for like 9 years now, and I think we're all in the same boat. We're competitive, sure. We want to do well. We'll pre-fish, we'll fish hard, but none of us are chasing hardware or chasing checks. We're there because we want to have a good time that weekend. We want to go fishing. We want to drink some beer, probably too much, more often than not. And well, you saw it at IC, so you kind of get you get the vibe. But no, that's kind of
nothing.
No, that's kind of my main goal now with tournaments is just to have a good time. So maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll get a wild hair one of these days and go real hard. But for right now, no, I enjoy them for what they are, and if I do good, great. If not, then it's still going to be a fun weekend.
Did you have a thought or a dream when you started this in 2012, 2013, turning on that GoPro, filming, getting what you do out there on the water on film? Was there anything really a goal in that? And did you ever think it would become what it's become now, and you'd have the fame and the and the lifestyle you're leading right now? Did you think that would come when you started this whole thing?
Oh, no, totally not. I just did it for fun back then. I mean, YouTube was barely a thing in 2013, 12.
Mm.
I just did it for a hobby. I enjoyed it. What's weird is I actually there's something about me. I guess I like filming myself. I have, videos of me in high school on the bank. I when I had, like, a it wasn't even an iPhone, it was like a whatever the phones were that had, like, a 2 megapixel camera. I have tons of videos in the archives of me setting up a camera and me just fishing on the bank and catching bass and bluegill and stuff, like lots of videos, a disgusting amount. I don't share those on YouTube. I'm too embarrassed to post those. So I guess those aren't on the internet. But I've always had like a fascination of filming myself fishing and rewatching the footage because it's kind of cool when you catch something and you have video of it, you can replay it. But no, when I started, there's absolutely no goal. It's just kind of for fun, and there never really ended up like I never at one point was like, "Oh shoot, I got to like do this." Like it just kind of all happened gradually like over the years. I mean, there's no one point where I can say, "Oh, that's when it changed." It was all super gradual, and you know, I I still enjoy it. It's fun, but at the same time, it is. Let's be real. It's social media. We don't know what social media is going to be in the future. We don't know what YouTube's going to be. I mean, if YouTube shuts down tomorrow for whatever reason, then
Well,
then that's it for me. But that's okay. It's okay. I liked my other job before this, and I still enjoy it when I can go practice it. But yeah, it was never a goal. I know I'm lucky to be in this position for sure. I don't take it for granted, but the one thing that's like nice is especially at ISC,
mhm.
ISC, it's nice to meet people that watch the show and know that you're actually like doing something positive. Like
Right.
fishing's kind of like a
Yeah.
selfish thing in a way. Like you're
Right.
fishing, you're taking time away from your family or your friends or whatever. It's kind of in a weird way a little selfish. And I've always kind of had that like piece of me that always said, you're not really doing anything for society, fishing and putting it on YouTube. But when you see like people young, old, that really enjoy the videos and, it helps them more than you think. I won't go into too much detail, but there was quite a few stories that it definitely goes beyond fishing that people enjoy the content. And not just me, like my buddies in the videos too, Obity, of course. That's really nice to see. That's really cool. That like is something I really enjoyed about the show is just meeting those people, hearing those stories, and feeling like you're actually helping people. So um, yeah, I don't know where we're going with that, but yeah, it's it's
We're just wondering what comes out of your head at this point.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's random thoughts. No, that was a nice thing about the show, and that's definitely a motivation to keep doing it, and try to stay. I mean, there's a lot of content out there, fishing content. I'm talking
Oh
about, and
yeah.
some of it's kind of goofy. I try not to be. I try to keep it real. Like I said
Mhm.
before, just show a real day of fishing, a real trip, tournaments, stuff like that. Whatever happens, happens. Keep it in the video, and have and be relatable. So I think that's important to me, and that's personally stuff I like to watch too. I like to watch people that are, I don't like to just go watch highlights of people catching 30 pounds or, doing crazy stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard that a lot. That's why people tune it in. It's like I really like that he just turns it on and goes. You get to see everything, and it's like and that's an important thing. I think, and when you talk about it, helps people out. I can appreciate the fact that you're giving them something to just go. God, I've had days like that.
Yeah.
I've had good days, I've had bad days, but I've had days just like what he just went through, and I understand it, and I get that.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way. You've branched out a little bit now. I see that you have it's an apparel line. Just is it just t-shirts and that sort of thing? Is it something that you and Obity are doing together, or is he has his and you have yours? And
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing mine for a while. It's
Mhm.
called Gio merch. It's short for Gyutako. So basically, I actually started this like
Or
7,
wait,
8
wait, what was that? Geo.
Uh, Gyutaku, it's like a Japanese form of it's basically Japanese fish printing.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
it's real fish. People catch real
Yeah.
fish, in which this case it's a bass, and they actually use ink on that fish and place it on a canvas and create the basically the imprint of that fish on the canvas. And I've just basically worked with some Gyutaku artists and taking their artwork of bass and put it on shirts. It's it's more of just like a passion project for me. I did it initially because I never had seen. I guess our trademark is the fish is vertical and it's eating like a bait fish or a bluegill. So I've got like sun hoodies and whatever, but it's kind of just for fun. It's a side thing. Obity is got probably a way better chance of doing something successful with his. He's got the Yonder Gang merch, the Yonder Tail bait, the Rippin' Lips t-shirts. I mean, I actually really like O's stuff. It looks really good. And I'll tell you what, that Yonder Tail that he had at ISC, his new bait, that thing that thing is in high demand right now. I think O's still well, that show was like a month ago almost, and I think O's still in his garage pouring baits, filling out
Wow.
orders. So yeah, I mean, we've got our own separate deals, but Obity's obviously a big part of my channel, and he's definitely a fan favorite. O or Mike. People like Mike. Mike is very oh, what's the word? Did you meet Mike at the show?
I did not. Well, maybe, possibly,
Okay.
I met him, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
we have to censor Mike a lot. We have to censor a lot of what he says. But no, him and
I didn't meet that guy.
no, him and O are definitely fan favorites. And no, it's always I feel super lucky to have a friend like O and someone that wants to be on the channel and does as much as he does. But yeah, I'll plug O. If you want to go check out O stuff, you should definitely check out O stuff. The
Yeah.
Rippin' Lips merch and the Yonder Tail.
Well, like I said, I talked to him at the show. We'll definitely have him on in a few
Yeah.
episodes, I'm sure. Get him on here talking to. I don't think he doesn't like to talk much, right? It's going to be hard I got to probably pull it out of him when I get him on here, but
Yeah,
I'll
he's
do what I
quiet.
can.
He's a shy guy by nature, but you get him going.
Yeah. Going into I guess the new year and all this stuff, we've got plenty to I don't know look forward to. With the way Bam's going. From your perspective, I'll ask you that question. How does Bam look? To you as far as like what we're doing out here, and are we making a splash on the West Coast?
Dude, I'm still amazed that, trails like Bam, trails like Bassmaster picked up kayak fishing. Like that's so exciting to me. Like I never in a million years thought that us kayak guys, us little kayak dudes would have, platforms like Bam to be a part of. So the fact that Bam took over and incorporated kayaks is amazing. I went to my first BAM event last year on the Delta, uh, and it was really cool. It was awesome. I saw they had a boat out there on the water filming.
Hmm.
I mean the awards at the Bass Hole on Bethel Island, super professional. I mean the giveaways were great. They've got an amazing schedule. I know Michael Bray is probably one of the best people for that job to be the tournament director. So I'm excited for it. I'm going to fish as many as I can this year. Uh, and again, I think it's just awesome that BAM, included us little kayak guys. That was, I know we're kind of like thought of as the, the stepchild in the family of fishing, but it's kind of true. Like, the boat
Yeah.
world's the boat world. The boat world's been around forever. Big bass boats. I've always loved, like I said, I've always been a fan of the boat world, the tournaments, bringing in the big fish to the scale, showing them. That's cool to me. I wish kayaks could do it. We can't, but whatever. But no, it's super cool that, we're a little piece of BAM now and that we get that platform. So yeah, I'm excited for this season. I know they got a killer schedule coming on up, and I'll squeeze in whatever I can.
I'm thinking if you went out there and you got with some of the I don't know, talk to native or something. Somehow, some way, they can build a live well.
Ah,
you know,
yeah,
just
I,
one live well. You weigh one fish, and it's it can hold like a 9-pounder in there, and just
that's
you get up
cool.
and go, and hey, I mean, there's all the electronics you run. There's power on these things. We're
Yeah.
not talking about you got massive trolling motors now. You've got the electronics. There's got to be a spot for a live well.
Oh, that
It
would
needs
be
it only
cool.
needs to hold one fish, maybe two,
That
I mean,
that would be
You can go to Orville and have 5 in there, no problem.
yeah. No, I think that would be cool. Like I said, I'm a sucker for a weigh, and I love just seeing a big fish. You know, you feel good about yourself when you have a big bag of fish and you walk to the tanks. I mean, it's cool. So,
It's a pride
eh,
thing. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
100%.
I think it'd be cool. Yeah, all right, I'll hit up Native, see if we can start making kayaks with a live well for at least one Delta fish, 5 Orville fish.
There you go. That's all it's gonna take out there.
Yeah.
You know, we got off a little bit on the fishing part of it, and we can work our way back over there a little bit. You know, we've got this time of year coming, and with spring and everything, and I like the talk about how I think some of that has gone away now with the boats. I mean, like you were out there standing up in these boats, sight fishing and punching and all this is all coming. This is all stuff you can do this in the kayaks now. It's not that big a deal. Looking forward. Is this the time of year that you're just absolutely looking forward? Are you just that regular guy that's like, oh my God, coming up is spring. We've got big fish, but this time of year you can still catch those fish. Let's talk a little bit about, what you're focused on as far as like when spring comes and, what's your favorite way to fish? Big things are happening in Boardman, Oregon. At the heart of it all, the Boardman Chamber of Commerce and Boardman Community Development Association, working together to create opportunities, support local businesses, and build a thriving community. From new business growth to family-friendly events, workforce development, and expanding local resources, Boardman is making it happen. Looking to live, work, or invest in a growing community? Boardman is ready for you. Boardman's Community Development Association, strengthening Boardman's economy, one project at a time.
Hey, Northern California bass anglers. Ready to elevate your fishing game? Ford Fairfield partners with Bass Angler Magazine to offer top-notch trucks tailored for your needs. Our simple pricing ensures a fair deal and exceptional service. We live and breathe bass fishing, participating in local tournaments to understand exactly what you need so you never miss a good bite. Visit Ford Fairfield today and let's hit the water together.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say March and April are my favorite times of year to fish, especially out on the Delta because, again, like I said, I'm a power fisherman, shallow power fisherman. So I love throwing bladed jigs, spinner baits up shallow. Um, I feel like, and this is kind of more Delta specific. There's very few times a year where I'll throw like a big jig on the Delta. It just gets too choked up with grass and you can't really do it effectively. The one time a year I personally like to do it is the first week of March, sometimes the second, really the first half of March, we'll say. And I like to take a big jig and throw it around tule clumps, isolated or not, places where those big females will pull up and spawn early, the early spawners, because I feel like that is the absolute best time to catch a giant. I mean, sure, you could throw a Senko or a drop shot, but I think just a big jig is just the best way. You're not going to get a lot of bites. And I always know that going in, but throwing a big jig up around those tule clumps, I mean, in Frank's Tract or, Mandeville, places like that, I think that is where you could have an absolute giant on the Delta. So it's a time of year that just again, it's the time of year where those big ones are exposed. They get so smart. They just disappear after this time of year. They bury themselves in the grass or go out into the channel and sit on a ledge. I don't know what they do, but they just kind of disappear. This is the one time of year. And not only the Delta, Clear Lake, Berryessa as well. They're vulnerable because they finally have to move up. And if you catch them on that right window where they're up, whether it's pre-spawn, spawn, or even post-spawn, that's your chance where they might slip up and you can get a fish of a lifetime.
As a Delta guy, you like going out there fishing that water. What water are you looking for this time of year? Are you looking for super clear? Are you looking for stained? Are you looking for muddy? Because we're gonna get some muddy water here. I know we're due. I mean, it's like just getting ready to rain here at my house, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's like, what are you looking for out there?
So this time of year, I mean, so I'm still treating this as I mean, it is
It's
winter.
winter.
Yeah. And this time of year, the main thing I'm looking for is like dead end areas, whether it's a marina or a dead end slough. Um, I just So I think there's fish everywhere in the Delta at all times of year, but I just think those dead end areas, I mean, I understand they still get tide and they're still moving current, but there's just there's less. It's not as pronounced
Mm,
as like the main channel where the tide is just ripping. And I feel like those areas, the fish are just more likely to bite a bait. Like I will never go main channel this time of year. I'm probably missing out on something amazing by not doing it, but no, for me personally, it's like the more those dead end areas where the water's a little calmer, it's not as impacted by the tide as much, and, the fish are more likely to bite, and the water clarity, if it's, like, super dirty, like, I'll probably avoid it, but, I'm not afraid of, like, a foot or so of visibility. I
mm,
think the big thing for me is the grass in the tules. I look
okay.
for, like, green tules, green grass, and I'll just tell you, today was that exact example. I was getting bit on or in areas where there was, healthy grass, healthy tules, at the, end of a slough. So those are the areas that I'll at least start with this time of year in the Delta, and then I'll kind of go from there. But either way, you're looking for 3 to 8 bites in a full day of fishing on the Delta, in my opinion.
Mm.
Is like I wouldn't say I'd say I'm like average, maybe a little above average on the Delta, just because I've been here for a minute or two now, far from like the guys that are like Delta rats, Delta sticks. But for me, I think if you're dialed, you're looking for 3 to 8 bites in a day on the Delta this time of year. So you gotta be patient. You gotta put your work in for sure.
Okay. You talked about the big jig. You talked about spinner baits and that sort of thing. In this, this cold going into where it's going to start warming up a little bit. I mean, the Delta, you said what was what, like 50, 53 to 55, something like that.
Yeah, 53.
Yeah. So when you start talking about that, when is it that you, I guess, start looking for that real big reaction bite? It's obviously not this time of year, but is it possible?
Yeah, I mean, I caught a couple on a spinnerbait today. Um, that was I caught my big one was a 3.5 on a spinnerbait today. It's just tricky too because this time of year, it's like the bite windows are even narrower than any other time of year. Like the they're maybe an hour, hour and a half if you're lucky. So it's literally putting yourself in the right place at the right time, and yeah, you better be there during the bite window. So I think it's still very possible to get reaction fish even with it being 53. But again, it all has the stars have to align, and that's tricky to do unless you really know what you're doing out there. But when the water temp, when we get into March, end of February even, and the water temps start creeping around 56, 57, 58, that's when that jig will start to come into play. That's when the reaction bite really it should turn on. And it's really, I think, just because the bite windows open up a lot more. You got a lot more fish kind of lurking up shallow, kind of checking things out, and you just have a better population of fish to target. But that's when that big jig will come out, and early March is when I think some of the biggest fish in the Delta will spawn a little deeper, around big clumps of tules with some hard bottom, of course. And that situation, for me, I'm looking for a bite, one bite a day, and that could be, a mega. So
Yeah.
that's one of those deals too, where you can't just do it for a day. It's like swim baiting. You can't just like
Yeah.
expect to go throw a swim bait for a day and catch a giant. It might take, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trips. But if you do get bit, it could be her.
Yeah, it'd be the one of a lifetime right there.
Yep.
Well, Greg, it is that time. I told you before, about 10 minutes left in the show right here. I turn this kind of over to you, the whole thing. Um, you know, People know who Greg Blanchard is, but there are some people listening that probably don't, or maybe don't. And this is the time that I give you some, take the show, tell them who you are, thank anybody that your sponsors, anybody that helps you out or gets you up here, or anybody that you want to. Man, just let it all go and let them how people can follow you, how people can see you, what your page is, and all that sort of thing. It is your time. Have it at it.
Oh, thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Well, yeah, I'm just, this is a podcast for probably a lot of boat guys. So there may be quite a few people that don't know me, but yeah, I'm in Northern California, East Bay. I'm probably most known for my YouTube channel. Again, it's just me in a kayak. So hopefully you like kayak fishing, and you can just find me on YouTube, Greg Blanchard. You can type that in, check out my videos. Yeah, I like to do a bunch of stuff, whether it's tournaments, fun fishing. Every so often we'll go to the salt. Not so much because I get seasick a lot, but that's always fun, and really kind of more like just vlogging these fishing trips and tournaments. But Greg Blanchard on YouTube, Greg Blanchard on Instagram, Facebook. I have a TikTok, but I don't really care about it. There's so many social medias nowadays, too much to keep up. So if you're gonna follow me, if you're gonna check anything out about me, I'd just say head to YouTube, Greg Blanchard, and watch the guy without a hat fishing a kayak.
All right, man. Do you have any sponsors out there at all?
Yeah, I've got some good sponsors. So Native Watercraft, I've been with Native Watercraft forever. I mean, I think it was the second kayak ever purchased after that little Amazon kayak I mentioned earlier. I remember saying to myself, you know what makes sense is if they made a kayak with like pedals, like so I could just like pedal around. So I Google searched kayak with pedals and two came up. One was a Hobie and the other one was a Native Watercraft. And the Native Watercraft had like the bicycle pedals so you could go in reverse. Hobie didn't, so I picked that one. And the rest is history. I've been with them since. So Native Watercraft's a big one. I work with Berkeley, so Berkeley baits, a lot of cool stuff that they're making nowadays. I've enjoyed a lot of their stuff, and some of the new stuff coming out too is I got to keep it sealed, but there's some stuff coming out that I'm excited for. Who else do I work with? I work with Waterland sunglasses, so sunglasses out on the water. I've had them for I actually started using Waterlands a long time ago, so that was a nice a support system. I work with Biono batteries, so the batteries that power my outrageous kayak builds sometimes. I mean, as we talked about, these kayaks are getting pretty crazy, and motors, graphs, you need some batteries. So Biono batteries are great. They were at the ISC show, and looks like they've got a 36 volt 50 battery coming out this year that is freaking small, which is crazy. Like, I mean, that's the name of the game. Kayak fishing is keeping things compact and efficient. And historically, those size batteries they're pretty dang big. So this new battery they have coming out that'll fit a lot of the like the stern mount motors, the NK300s. It is small. So I don't know how they did that, but that's pretty cool. I work with Newport Vessels. That's a motor company specifically for kayak fishing, stern mount motors. So I hate to admit it, but I'm kind of getting lazy as I get older, and having a motor on the kayak when I cover 8, 10, 12 miles a day, it's kind of nice, especially when it's like 100 degrees in the middle of summer and you got 8 miles to go. So that's a really good one. Newport's really good to me. Working with Humminbird. So you guys just saw the new units, Mega Live 2, the Explorer units they're really nice. They're solid. I actually went and picked their brain at ISC, learned a few things as well, but they're really nice units. That Mega Live 2. Be warned, I wasn't a scoper before this, and I know it's addicting. I'm gonna have to literally flip a coin eventually to see if I'm allowed to bring it or not because it's gonna be a problem. They're good people as well. I think that's pretty much it. P-Line, of course, P-Line and first gen fishing. Love P-Line. I mean, a lot of my sponsors are actually products I already used before I even worked with them. But P-Line's one of them. So P-Line makes some great stuff. I know there's a lot of P-Line supporters out here in the West. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. A lot of good folks supporting myself and the content. I'm very lucky, and thanks again, Ed, for having me. It's been a pleasure, man.
No, man, we really appreciate you coming on the show. A lot of people have asked me, a few times. It's like, hey, when are you going to Greg on there? I said, I call him, he doesn't answer, he doesn't pick up.
That's true. That's very true. I don't even answer my friends. So let me just make that Mike, my buddy Mike, the inappropriate one. He texted Andrea last week and said, "Is Greg alive?" I didn't respond. I didn't respond in like 3 days. She's like, "Oh yeah, he's just fishing." I'm like, sorry, Mike. I don't. I'm terrible with phones, but
So I like the fact that he had to call.
yes,
I had to threaten her to make sure that you picked up. She was like, "Oh, you call me if he doesn't call you. I'll call.
yes.
I'll make him call."
It's almost better to call her to reach me. I should just have her have my phone, and then she can just.
That. I know that you marry them and they're not supposed to be secretaries, but they're really the best ones.
It's been good so far. So yes,
And I got to say, nobody else can see this. This is all going to be voice. But over his right shoulder all day that we've been doing this interview is a picture. Don't know who painted it. Don't know who drew it. Don't know matter what. But it has been him the entire show, and it is hilarious that picture right there. I don't know who did it. I don't know how long it's been there, but that has been you the
Yep.
entire thing. So
That's awesome.
it must be how you go through life right there. I don't even know if it's a picture of you. It's just
No. Oh, God. I don't even know what's behind me. There's pictures back there. I couldn't even tell you one of them. I don't know what's in this house. I mean,
it's probably some world famous picture. I'm just
probably. Yeah. Probably.
No, it's just funny. I'm like all day he's just been hand on head and just kind of sitting here doing the interview, nice and
Yeah.
subtle, laid back guy. But I got to get you one before we get you off of here. How
Yeah.
old are you, man? Because you've said you're old and you're not old. There's no way you're old.
How old do you think I am?
63. That's what I'm going in.
62. Close.
62.
62.
I don't know.
No,
I would say what, 39, 40, somewhere in that range?
37.
37. There you go. So yeah, you're not old. Come on, give me a break. I mean, you're feeling old though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like as soon as you hit 35, things just are like downhill.
Yeah.
So,
Oh well. You know
it,
what? You're sitting in a kayak most of the time. You get to go fishing. You don't
yeah.
have too bad of a life.
No, it could be
Do
worse.
you have another job besides what you do with this stuff now? Have you gravitated to just working fishing wise?
So before this, I was a physical therapist, and
And you don't know how to get all
dude,
stretched
matter.
out and everything.
Well, I do as much as I can, but no, I still practice when I can. It's just time wise now. I don't have time to do it, but I still have my license. I still go in when I can. It's the thing is, I enjoy that job quite a bit. Sometimes too much. It's nice. So no, I still have that in the back pocket when like YouTube shuts down and I've got to go back to the real world.
When the world ends.
Yeah, essentially.
All right, Greg. Well, hey, man, again, thank you so much for coming on and doing this show. This will be coming out. And yeah, everybody, if you didn't get anything out of this show, as always, go back and listen again. You missed something. Greg let out a bunch of good information right there. Can't say anything more than we appreciate him coming on here. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next show.